Hi, my name is Danielle Barbado. Michelle discussed literacy demands on social studies teachers. However, I'm going to go a bit deeper into that question, and I'm also going to answer how we can incorporate literacy strategies into social studies or help social studies teachers as literacy coaches to incorporate these strategies and how beneficial they can be towards instruction and achievement. My two articles were Teaching Literacy Through Social Studies under No Child Left Behind, and my other article, was Embedding Literacy Strategies in Social Studies for 8th grade students. The demands on social studies history teachers now are quite demanding. Before, social studies teachers were just expected to simply teach their content, and now they're being asked to implement literacy strategies due to No Child Left Behind, and because of the great deal of testing that students now do, social studies teachers are responsible for the literacy end of it as well. It's no longer, just the literacy teacher's job to teach that. Many social studies teachers are having difficulty deciphering between teaching their content and teaching literacy. And as Amanda will mention in her presentation, they're asking social studies teachers to get away from rote memorization and the textbook. That's how, I learned when I was younger, a lot of vocabulary words by memorization using the textbook. And this makes a lot of social studies teachers feel uncomfortable because they're used to that direct instruction. They're used to just using the textbook and just strictly, like I had said, teaching the content. But instead, now they're moving towards using multiple texts, uh, allowing students to see the content through various perspectives, using disciplinary literacy, really diving into the text, using critical thinking, and implementing those literacy strategies so that students can use those in their career and in college. As stated in my article, it is difficult for many teachers to understand the necessity of keeping the content of the text at the forefront while teaching strategies. So, still important to keep the content as the focus in the forefront, but embedding those teaching strategies, and I'll discuss that a bit later. As literacy coaches, we can alleviate some of the pressure that the social studies teachers feel. We can allow them opportunities and guide them through the use of disciplinary literacy and incorporating literacy activities into their content without compromising that content. Some ideas would be multiple text using Newsela, ReadWorks, the textbook, modified articles, videos, collaborative learning using Jigsaw is one of the main ones that we learned from our readings, debate, speeches, playing specific parts, incorporating readers' theater plays. As Michelle had explained previously, disciplinary literacy is not only using the student background, but also embedding those literacy skills and using the content altogether. In the article, there was an example of a teacher who used the textbook, small groups, group leaders. She tried using collaborative activities, but these activities weren't meaningful and purposeful, so they kind of fell by the wayside. Social studies does not have to be boring. I teach 4th grade, and I actually had a student come to me and say that social studies is his favorite subject. And right now, we're just learning about states and capitals of the regions. However, I use a Padlet and I use a Jigsaw method with it as kind of a review to the states and capitals. But it's a perfect example that, it's the content is kind of dull in a sense. However, you embed those activities and those literacy strategies in to create a fun environment for the kids. The article stated, during interviews, students politely told me that in their view, social studies alternated between boring and interesting. When I asked what was interesting, they all referred to one lesson, a town hall meeting in which the teacher let students direct their own debate between loyalists and patriots. So allowing students to do the learning, which can be difficult for veteran social studies teachers to kind of give that responsibility to the students. But in our chapter that we were asked to read in Content Matters, it did state the ways in which students engage in this intellectual work are just as important as the work itself. Implementing literacy strategies into social studies. is extremely important, as stated by Gaston, Martinez, and Martin, my second article. They stated, there is no magic elixir for students' lack of motivation, engagement, and achievement in social studies, but literacy strategies were seen as a help that teachers might use to pique students' interest and to help them succeed. So just again, seems repetitive, but allowing students time with those various texts, allowing them to critically think, and just to get involved with real world issues. They want to be heard. They want, their voices to be heard among their peers as well as their teacher. Also in the article, Key, Bradley, Jay, and Bradley declared that in order to stimulate students' interest in social studies and promote literacy, students must be actively involved. And we know that in all contents, and we know that just in general, that when students are involved in the learning process, then that's when they're truly engaged, and it's sinking into their brains and their learning. The second article, it was actually very interesting. They studied two separate classes, a direct instruction class and a literacy strategy instruction class. The mean average pretest scores were very close. The direct instruction was 63.16. First, the literacy strategy class, which was 59.38. And at the end of the 8 to 9 weeks, the mean average achievement post-test scores were direct instruction 75.53 and the literacy strategy classroom 86.46. So you can see there the literacy strategy classroom was significantly higher than the direct instruction. If you take a look at the table I created here, in the direct instruction classroom, there were actually 3 behavioral referrals given. They described that, children's heads were on the desk. There was a lack of that motivation, which, they didn't complete assignments. There was poor work ethic. They also described social studies as mainly boring. In the classroom where they implemented literacy strategies such as comprehension skills, vocabulary activities, technology, non-traditional texts like Michelle had referenced, such as trade books, various perspectives. In this classroom, they were engaged and motivated. It impacted achievement, obviously. They found content relevant. They were eager. The learning was meaningful, and therefore they were on task. They were asking questions, and they felt more confident. So it is also important, in order to embed these literacy strategies into social studies, that we give teachers quality professional development to allow them to understand how to do this flawlessly. Amanda will discuss document-based lessons as well as assessing these strategies, allowing us to see as teachers, are they truly learning from our activities that we're implementing. Thank you.